most populous African nation. I have watched over time the policy issues with respect to climate change in Nigeria and how policies or maybe some commitments have been made where it's never attended to, you know. So because Nigeria has the opportunity to make to generate a lot of incomes in terms of on the issue of climate change. But we just say we don't act. For instance, I know of the Energy Research Institute in Sokoto or somewhere in the northwestern part of Nigeria. And I wonder what exactly the institute is doing when there are opportunities to create things like solar panels that will be accessible to even the lowest cadre in the society. And I also wonder why, even at government level, where we don't have a proliferation of pilot communities where solar is the main energy source. I think a little effort is being made, but it's not enough considering our population and our energy needs. I've seen also in China where a community was using human waste from the sockaway, and the gas is being passed to their homes to cook. This is something I have seen. It's not a story. I've seen it from the sockaway, and they got the energy in the house the gas in the house that is being used to cook. I've also seen where in Austria where a processing plant generates its own hydropower to light up the environment, at least to support the processing and reduce the electricity cost for him. And then you see a lot of dump sites in Lagos, dump sites everywhere. In Abakaliki, we see heaps, and it's not heaps, it's mountains of rice bran, which is the byproduct of rice processing. They are in mountains, not heaps. And what has the government of that state done with that? Nothing. So I want to believe that this kind of webinar is good. I think it will bring people into the reality of situations at hand and what the danger portends for the future. But I think we should also bring in more private sectors who can also drive the process. The private sector can drive the process really, and we can get something out of it rather than waiting. Let the government put up the policies, but most of the time the implementation is poor. And so I believe that the private sector can actually play a role in this energy issue. Thank you. It's just a comment.
Thank you very much, ma'am. We appreciate your comments, and some of the issues you have raised are part of the challenges that have hindered the progress of sustainable energy in Nigeria. In our subsequent editions, we plan to bring in specialists and, of course, the private sector, just like you have mentioned, to speak more on the specific renewable energy sources. Thank you, ma'am. So we have one last question from Akens Hamilton Amakri. It says, what is being done on harnessing the huge hydro resource in the Niger Delta region of Nigeria? Okay, I have noticed that her hand is up. Would you like to speak, Akens Hamilton Amakri?
Yes. Good afternoon, all. I'm Dr. Hamilton Amakri, Director of Academic Planning, Federal University of Turkey. I have really enjoyed this webinar on renewable energy. And because I'm from the Niger Delta, I'm quite interested in what is being done as regards hydro, the hydro resource, the huge hydro resource we have in the Niger Delta. While I was listening, I think the focus is on solar, and it's quite interesting to note that we have sunlight in the Niger Delta, but not as much as you have in the northern part of the country. And so I am thinking that more research should be focused on harnessing the hydro resource in the Niger Delta. I am Director of Academic Planning, and Dr. Rona, I'm sure, is also aware of the fact that we have NRF, National Research Fund, that is ready to fund research in interesting areas like this, up to a ceiling of 50 million naira. So those in renewable energy, especially in hydro, in harnessing our huge hydro resource, should look into submitting proposals for the NRF. So the government is ready to give us, TED Fund is ready to give us as much as 50 million grants to go into looking into research that would further harness not just hydro resource, bioresource, as well as the solar energy resource that you guys are promoting right now. So that's just a comment. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this webinar. Thanks to the organizers.
Thank you, Dr. Akens Hamilton Amakri, and thanks to all our participants. Unfortunately, we will not be able to take any further questions because we have overshot our time by 25 minutes, and we are very sorry for that. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. We would like to request that our videos be turned on if possible, so we can take a screenshot of this webinar.
I think there's someone who still has a question. There's a hand raised.
Okay. I think, okay, that is Victor Aniobi. Okay, so Mr. Victor, you can speak, please.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. And a big thank you to the presenters and organizers as well. Okay, please pardon me, I actually joined in late, but I keep hearing this net zero. I'd like to know what net zero is all about. That's number one. Then number two, like one of the speakers said, that's Damilola by name. So he mentioned that these policies we are talking about, energy policies and all what we are talking about on how to adopt renewable energy and do away with fossil fuel. He said it's not just about the policies. How can a common man assess these things? How can I, as a person now, want to, switch to renewable energy, probably using inverter or solar? How can I get these things at a very cheap? Nigeria has the population, the market, like Hilary said. But then, do we have what it takes to get these things? Majority of the Nigerian population is people who are living almost below poverty line, who can barely eat food, 3 square meal a day. So how do we, these things are talking, how do we make it more realistic to achieve it? I don't know if I'm making any point, making any sense. So how do we, please, the speakers, how do we get these things practicalized? Because some of these speakers who are speaking here, I know some of you are still using the fossil fuel. Some of you still drive your vehicles on, fuel, you still burn gas, And so how do we practicalize it, make it easy for everybody to adopt? So that's the question. Thank you.
All right, can you hear me, Victor?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, thank you. I think that's a good question. And so, like I said in my presentation, I said it is important that we begin to understand that in order to actually achieve the just transition the world is talking about, Africa and Nigeria specifically needs to work on socio-economic underdevelopment. That is a major threat to even achieving net zero for itself. And so if you're able to look through the current happening in Africa and Nigeria, you're able to see that, okay, you just don't want to talk about net zero. You have to put in some foundational needs. You need to address some foundational impacts that are not making us drive towards the agenda the world is talking about. And so, like I said, it's important that we look into socioeconomic development as a whole. So how can we make sure that people understand the importance of this thing? How do we make sure that people have access to finance to get all of these things? This is just as good as achieving net zero itself, because at the end of the day, it's only when you know better, you do better. It's only when you have the money to purchase these things, you are able to purchase it. And so to answer this thing, all of these things still boils down to the role of government. No matter how bad the government is, no matter how bad we say the Nigerian government is, no matter how good we say the Nigerian government is either, it is important we understand that these are the roles government need to play. But one major practical example I can give you as a business owner, if you intend to go into this business and still be able to make your profits, is to see how you can diversify into other means. Talking about solar irrigation and agriculture, talking about solar and renewables with SMEs, small and medium enterprise, talking about renewables with households generally. So if you're intending to diversify into that, also understand the terrain in which you play in. You can come up with feasible financial plan for these people to pay. So that way they are able to get access to it at a cost that is not so exorbitant at the start. And then at the end of the day, they are also able to push towards the agenda of net zero. And I think with this way, you're also breaking the financial gap as to how many people are not able to have access to it. And I'm sure in no time, the global organization will gravitate towards the impact you're making until you set a leading example as a business owner, also pushing towards net zero by selling renewables. So that's just what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hillary, would you like to say something?
Yes, actually, I was actually going to answer Victor. Basically, he was trying to know what the net zero means. So I would believe that not everyone here is involved in energy field. So probably the net zero might be a quite Greek term to him. So Victor, if you know about greenhouse gases and carbon emissions, net zero actually refers to a situation whereby the total greenhouse gas emission into the environment from energy sources is zero. That is to say, we come to a point where all the sources of energy we use are not emitting any form of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. That is basically a layman understanding in the most basic term I can put it for you. So it's just like saying there is no emission from the sources of energy we have. Now, to further buttress the answer Damilola has given you on how we intend to achieve this net zero in Nigeria. Of course, you said the population is there, the market is there, but then people do not have the wherewithal, they don't have the purchasing power. I can agree with you on that, but the success that has been made so far in the country, we can talk about public-private partnerships. We talk about a lot of IPPs that have come up in the country, even from the time of President Olusegun Obasanjo after the privatization of the energy sector. There have been a lot of public-private partnerships in the energy sector that intend to bring energy to the rural communities. And of course, renewable energies come with a high levelized cost of energy, which makes it quite difficult for rural and poor people to have access to it. So this is where the Rural Electrification Agency comes in. This is where the GIZ comes in. This is where all the funding agencies come in. And of course, you can agree with me, there are a lot of projects that have been carried out in the country already that border on deployment of renewable energy. And of course, some of them are not totally free, market free. That is, they are subsidized to make sure that these people who do not have access to electricity and cannot afford it, if left alone to do it by themselves, are able to get energy access through renewable energy by means of subsidy coming from the funding from these donor agencies and of course the government in some instances. Thank you. I hope that helps in your question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hillary. We have a question from Isa Balogun, but we are sorry that that is not within the scope of this webinar. We run out of time. So subsequent questions will be responded to via mail. For your question, we could find a way to get her contact over to you so you can talk with her privately. I hope that is fine, Mr. Balogun. So we would be giving a—
Sorry, you said what? I didn't hear you.
Okay, I was saying that there's a question from Isa Balogun. He's asking that the doc who spoke about MFR research opportunity should shed more light on the focus of the research. And we're saying that this is out of the scope of our webinar, and we have actually run out of time. So we would find out if we could share her contacts with him, so they could discuss more privately. And then any other questions could be responded to. I see Dr. Rona's hand is up. Let me give him an opportunity to speak. Dr. Rona.
Okay. Sorry, just a quick one. I just want to make a final word. If you study the IPCC report from the mitigation, you see that Africa contribution is very, let me say, insignificant in terms of emission, meaning that we are contributing less to the damage of the universe. So for equity and justice, I think I always say that in any of the fora that attend, international fora, that Nigeria cannot do it alone. The Africa cannot do it alone. In fact, if one of the documents projected by the government says that for Nigeria to meet the net zero ambition, Nigeria should be ready to commit about $170 billion to do that. So Nigeria cannot do it alone. So I'm saying that the Western world should come clean and clear to show area of support, but not them telling us the story. We tell the stories ourselves and give the narrative ourselves. Thank you very much for organizing this.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rona. So we'll be giving an opportunity to Mr. Anthony for some closing remarks.
Thank you very much, everybody. I'm so excited for this meeting event we've just had. I thank so very much our moderator, Femina, and also our panelists, Dr. Rona, Damilola, Amit, and Hilary Iruka. Thank you very much. I thank also our participants today. Of course, I can see that people want to know more about sustainable energy in Nigeria, about renewable energy, about what is being done by the different stakeholders in enhancing energy access and clean energy, because that's the idea. There is energy and there is clean energy. So we want clean energy, not just for us, but for the next generation, because we can burn all the fossil fuel we want, we can do anything we want, but what happens? What are we bequeathing to the next generation? So that is the idea about this sustainable energy talk. So we will be running this every month, and we'll request of you to come share your idea and also tell people about the show. We want people to know more and also empower our people more, because he who knows can better understand what you are talking about. But who doesn't know? If you say renewable energy, clean energy, and somebody doesn't even understand the difference between energy and electricity, as simple as that, then it becomes a problem. So energy traverses a lot of things: transportation, clean cooking, electricity itself, the one the industry uses and all that. So we hope to, over the month or over the year and over the course of this program, to bring more panelists, more experts to expound more on what is being done in the renewable energy and sustainable energy in the country. So thank you very much. Thank you to our planners, Alfred, Ntami, my colleagues at the Renewable Energy Access and Renewable Energy MSc program. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you, Brendan, Thank you, everyone, for turning up for this. And we'll see you next month. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
All right. Sorry, can we just turn out
All right, bye.
for the screenshots, for a brief screenshot? And then I would like to apologize to Dr. Unduko. We missed a question from him. Sir, we would respond to this question, to your question via mail. We're sorry about that. So please turn on your video so we can take a screenshot. Thank you.
Is that okay?
All right.
Fine. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. See you in our next edition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.